what comes to mind when I say the word sister to you?
Well, normally I would say the person that's always there for me, the one that's loyal always, kind, funny, the one that I share all the good times and the bad times with. But currently it's the person that will not stop sending me photographs of us as children when we've got boy haircuts and we're wearing horrendous 80s clothes.
Like we were raised by wolves.
What was lovely though is how close we were. In all of those photographs we're either holding hands or
I'm holding your arm.
I know. What was that thing that you said in the hospital?
Take that thing home now.
When I was born.
Yeah.
Take that thing home now.
Yeah.
And then, you know, we flash forward only a couple of years after losing Dad, and everything started to unfold, you know, sadly for the worse for you.
Tom and I were about to start having a family. Well, we were discussing having a family, and we were like, right, full steam ahead, came off the pill. And if you remember, I kept on getting those awful, I just lie in bed, hot flushes, just pouring with sweat. I just felt like I just couldn't function. Like my brain literally felt like it was wrapped in cotton wool. And they checked prolactin, and they...
What's the prolactin? That's the hormone that's present if you're either going through the menopause or you have a brain tumour.
And then they were like, well, we can't diagnose you officially with the menopause. And I was like, what? Sorry, what? The menopause? Nobody's even mentioned the menopause.
God. Yeah.
So it was, yeah, like massive attack of the menopause, basically. And I just felt so alone, I think, at the time. It was just nobody that I knew after I got that diagnosis, nobody knew what I was going through.
Because you were, what, 33 at the time?
I was 33 at the time, so young.
Because it was a sad ending, I mean, a very sad ending with what happened, because it left you completely infertile.
Yes, yeah. No, so actually, yeah, it was not only the menopause diagnosis, it was actually just finding out, boom, you can't have kids. So it was two massive blows all in one go, and I think that's really hard for people. Well, it was really hard for me, and would be really hard for anybody else that's experiencing it at a really young age, because I think everyone sort of goes, and I still have conversations with friends now, and they're like, oh, well, I'm going through it as well, and it's really, really hard for me. And I keep on thinking in my head, yeah, I know it's hard for you, but you've already got kids, so yes, it's hard, but it's like a whole nother step. Yeah.
So I was kind of focusing on that and the career rather than thinking about that. And it was only when you started to go into menopause very suddenly that it suddenly was like a ticking time bomb for me.
Yeah.
Because
and I do remember having that conversation.
I was in Ibiza.
Yeah, and I sort of said, look, this is what I'm going through. You need to actually now look at you with all of this as well.
You said, I was on the beach, I was standing feet in the sand, the sun was setting, and you rang and you said, I've been given the final diagnosis, it's not good, this is what it is. And by the way, the specialist has strongly indicated that because it happened to Granny, it happened to Mum, it happened to me, it will happen to you. I was trying to be there to support you, but I was also really terrified.
Well, I kept on thinking, this has happened to me, I just really hope that it doesn't happen to you. And actually, you've still got time, because obviously I missed out on being able to have kids, but I was like, I just really hope that we've sort of caught it early enough, and I've been diagnosed, and you're now armed with the information that you can possibly still do something about it. And I think that's a really hard thing, and I'm always trying to be supportive to everybody.
And tell you I'm sorry, because it was horrendous to watch. It was the worst thing in the world to watch, because at that point that was all you wanted, was to have children.
Yeah.
And I know what that did to you as your sister, as your little sister.
Actually, I think I won the lottery a little bit, because I found my mixed, diverse family in a completely and utterly different way.
Yes.
And we have sort of adult life half the time and kid life the other half the time, so it's a perfect mix.
There was a strong indication that this was going to be hereditary, because Mum went through it at 41, I think Granny was 42.
Mum was slightly older than Grandma. She was, I think Mum was 42, 43, and Grandma was 40 or 41. Okay.
So the conversations were happening at home growing up. Like, do you remember some narrative being told, you know, about the fact that, you know, we needed to hurry up, we couldn't hang around?
I mean, I don't even know if it really registered on my Richter scale.
I mean, I was just more interested in finding the right person. You know, you spend your whole 20s trying not to get pregnant, and then when you're in your 30s, you're like, well, hang on now, where's my dream boat? And I fell pregnant on the 1st of January 2016, New Year's Day. Happy New Year.
woo.
Yeah, it was amazing. I mean, naturally, it was amazing. So that was absolutely incredible. And then obviously we fell pregnant with Kit pretty soon after that. And then at that point, I'd had the kids and I thought, well, this is great because my children are here, and I know that that was such a blessing, and it was such like a miracle really, because we didn't really think if it, that it was ever going to happen. But it was the year after that tidal wave came. And even though we knew in the hereditary, the link, ding, 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 I still was resisting it.
Yeah, you were like, oh, I don't think it is that. I don't think it is. I don't think.
I think I've got depression. I remember saying, I think I've got depression. I'm depressed. I can't get out of bed every day. I
was like, are you sure? Are you sure it's not menopause?
But that's when the symptoms, during that period, that's when the symptoms really ramped up for me. So that was the night sweats and the headaches and everything else that we've spoken about. And obviously the depression, which was just horrendous. I thought it was going to kill my marriage, if I'm honest with you. I was just crying all the time. Yeah. Every day feels confusing for me because I don't know what's going on with my brain. I don't know, doing the job that I do, where I have to be so quick, and listening to me doing live radio, I literally have to be able to go from one subject to the other to be able to and suddenly it's like looking in a cupboard full of ingredients and not knowing what I'm looking at.
I do that all the time.
The words are. I've lost my word. Like it's frightening. I feel like sometimes I think, Jesus, have I got dementia, or is something going on with me? Seriously, like I want to go and have a brain scan at the moment because I just feel like I cannot get the words out. Yeah. And that is, as I said, aside from the crying, that's the most frightening thing for me. I feel really, really alone. I feel really just like it's been taken away.
Yeah, and I found that yesterday.
Yeah.
I was literally in a director's meeting and I was trying to say something and I just couldn't get my words out. As we've always said, it's not done. It's always like an ongoing journey. I need to go back and see the GP again, but then I don't want to be a burden. Like I feel like actually I'm sort of got my levels semi-okay, and other people need to go to the doctor and see them for more important reasons.
My whole experience with it has been one of fear, actually, if you want the honest truth. Carrying quite a lot of shame and embarrassment, and then just being like, no, I'm going to tell everyone that asks me how I am.
Just getting the message out there that you're not on your own and that you're not alone. I mean, even just going into work the other day, we've got a lovely new girl that's just started, and she was like, oh, I've got a menopause belly coming on, and definitely have that one. But I'm just
what a lovely symptom, isn't it?
Yeah. But we're now talking about this in a workplace, whereas a few years ago, absolutely no chance that wouldn't have happened. And it's now just normalised.
So really I just it's been such a massive, huge, monumentous moment in my life, aside from having my children, the biggest thing to deal with in many ways. But I feel like having these conversations will help so many people. It will reach so many women, and really to tell them to keep knocking the door down if they're not getting the help. It's a ride and it's a journey, but I think it's safe to say that we couldn't have got through it without one another.
Oh no, and I mean you've been instrumental in supporting me throughout it all.
Well, ditto.